Well, if this truck thing doesn't work out, you might have a place on TV.
Yeah, I was going to start my OnlyFans, you know. On today's episode of Jeff Kelderman's Garage, we're talking the dirt bike. We're going to come right here to Route 65 Harley-Davidson, pick ourselves up a brand new road glide that we're going to turn into the Joe Dirt Bike.
Congratulations, man. Thank you. It's nice to meet you.
Thanks for getting on that so quick.
Yeah, no problem.
Get in here with me, bud, or what?
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah. All right, my man. Appreciate it.
You bet.
All right, thanks.
You take care, man.
Right.
You bet. Take care, bro.
All right. Well, we got ourselves a green motorcycle for now. Not a bad looking bike, but again, stock. And if you know me, stock is not in the vocabulary. So we're gonna go home, throw this thing on the rack. It's Labor Day weekend. Monday gives me something to do. I'll pop the fairing off. We'll probably pop the fender off and bring it up to Scott. But I think we're gonna go carbon fiber fenders. You know, saddlebags, side pieces, fuel tank, easy stuff. Run that stuff up to him next week. And that way, while he's painting the deer tape bird, he can paint this thing at the same time. It's going to really speed up the process. Scott's really busy. He's got 3 or 4 projects right after the deer tape bird, and be able to get this done at the same time. It'll, you know, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And I'm not talking super birds either. We've got the 2 guys that took my vision and turned it into reality. Paul from Bare Knuckle Performance down in Hawk Point, Missouri, and Scott Takis from Underground Art Studios in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And I tell you what, I've built hundreds of trucks, maybe thousands of trucks, multiple motorcycles, hot rods. It's not very often that when you close your eyes and you envision something and you open it and it is exactly what you want. But you know what? This is one of the rare times in life that actually happened. And I owe it all to these guys. Kind of told them what I wanted, and then I kind of got out of the way. You know, let the guys do what they do best. So have at it, guys. Tell everybody how we turned this green stock machine into one of the coolest bikes on the planet.
Well, originally when you came up with this, we started talking about it. What was nice about it was the parts were pretty much ready to go for me to start painting. So I get the parts right away, coming off the Joe Dirt Superbird. We were easy peasy, rolling right in and starting to do the same kind of technique on the paintwork, while the bike went off to Paul and he was able to start visualizing what needed to be done to make it happen.
And we were planning on doing that in the spring, and then after, you know, seeing the car come back, I'm like, holy shit, I gotta get this bike going now, because it's fresh in his mind. And you know, obviously all the color combinations and the mixes and paper, I'm like, we gotta do it now and it's fresh. And man, I mean, you can see when you put all these things together, they're exact matches.
Yeah, we had, you know, all the colors were already figured out. We had them all ready to go. So there was some even we had left over that we were able to use, and some we mixed up new, but a lot of the techniques are the same for the paint work.
Very cool.
Yeah, so it was the first time that we've ever had a bike come to us that we haven't even seen the sheet metal, and we tear it down while the sheet metal's already being painted, which typically we would say no to. And they run into one little hiccup, but it wasn't bad. We didn't get painted into a corner. But yeah, Jeff called and said, here's my idea. And I don't know if Scott called me first or if I called Scott first, but about the time I was dialing or he was dialing, the other one was calling. Like, what do you think about this? And, you know, our whole thing is let's just stay tasteful. You know, like it can be in our eyes, and Jeff said the same thing. He said, well, let's make it a performance motorcycle first. And then the paint job is just a paint job. It's not going to be a theme bike. There's nothing themey about the bike. It's just a paint job that looks like the movie car paint job. Yeah. So that was the key, I think, for all three of us. Like, there was never any talk of anything corny. We kept it. I mean, it's a fast bike, and that kind of got out of hand as it tends to do.
Yeah. What started as a 117, let's just throw a turbo on it. We don't need a ton of horsepower. Where did that end up?
Yeah, now it's a 131 with all the horsepower. So,
well, I think from my perspective, watching, first of all, you have the Joe Dirt car, then you get the Bird. Well, the Bird, really, you wanted to pump up all that performance. You wanted something you could drive. You wanted something that you could really hammer on and enjoy, and it's going to stay together. And I think that's where Paul had that kind of the combination of the two cars, where he was able to really say, all right, I know we're going to do this, and it's going to be the Joe Dirt, is the platform for it. But having the Bird, he knew he could go crazy with the performance.
Yeah, and we did.
You're exactly right. And you guys know me. I ride and I do long distances. I mean, I think last year leaving Greensboro on the Kyle Petty ride, I think I left at 5 or 5:30 in the morning, and I got home at 11 at night, and I ripped off 1,086 miles. So, I do have my baggers, and I do ride long distances. I'm not going to ride this on the Kyle Petty ride, but I'm going to ride this thing to Sturgis. I'm going to let you guys take it to all the bike shows, the paint shows. I mean, this is going to be the different show 7 days in a row at Sturgis. But I'm going to ride it there. That's the thing.
That's what we took into mind when you came, because I know how much you ride, and it's not. You may not ride 20,000 miles across the whole year, but you'll do 10,000 miles in a couple weeks. So I knew it's got to be, like the old drag racers would say, you get cheap, fast, reliable. You're lucky if you get two of them. So obviously we want fast and reliable. We'll deal with the rest. So what we like to do with our shop is we like to push the performance end of it as far as speed and horsepower. We like to push it up to the point where for the gains that you see going any further, your reliability and longevity is going to drop off, because we want, I don't want you to be in the middle of that West Coast ride or something that you're going to do this year and there's an issue. So the thing has an insane amount of power. Great brakes, great suspension. We'll go through all of it. It's got it all. But I have no doubts that it's going to serve you well on the road.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I like it because obviously you build a motorcycle, you want a work of art, and you want it to look cool. But from being at Sturgis last year, seeing all the performance baggers, and just envisioning, and it was just kind of like, man, if we take this performance and then we throw a Joe Dirt paint job on it, we're going to be able to take this to a variety of shows and ride it to the shows, whereas a lot of guys are going to trailer this stuff because they don't want anything dirty. This we're just going to give a quick wipe down, and it'll still look nice. But I just wanted something that when people walk out, there's, hey, did you see that? Did you see that one FXR? Or did you see that black street glide, whatever? When they walk out, like, did you see that Joe Dirt bike? Oh shit, I did see that Joe Dirt bike. And see all the stuff we had around from the movie. And then you're also going to have the other guys be like, why the hell would you do the Joe Dirt bike? Why would you paint it like that? And then like, well, because he has the car, man. That's just, he's really into Joe Dirt if you can't tell. And you guys both know we're into Joe Dirt. So, well, I would say following us, you give us a walkthrough from start to fin, or start front to back.
Yep.
And as you go, you can chime in, Scott, on some of the certain points of those. What was fun with this is us three would be on calls and going back and forth, and I would start this what I'm thinking, and he would say, I think this is what you mean, and he's like, yeah, I was thinking that last night. Yeah. So it was nice for all three guys to be on the same page. I mean, we didn't deviate far off the norm. I might come back and say, man, we got to get footprint gas pedal somewhere on this thing. And both these guys are like, no. I'm like, okay. But I'm like, well, we got the skull from the dash on the dash. But other than that, I let you guys just go at it. And I was a little worried, because Joe Dirt cars, they're long and yellow, and there's a lot of weird stuff going on. Yeah. But I wasn't too upset or worried about Scott, because I know he can kind of envision, and put this whole thing all together, just like the rust on here symbolizing the hood. I mean, that's just perfect. We did talk about cutting it down because the fenders are such prominent. And then, I envisioned the white and the purple on the gas tank from the minute I thought of this. But, just going to the extra, little ways and putting on the same thing that's on the front of the nose and, making the bottom look like the trunk. It's awesome. I can't wait. I mean, this honestly is the only second time I've seen this bike. We had it at Stacy David's last week filming Gears. It's going to be airing March, like the first or second weekend of March in 2025 for you future people looking in the past. Just awesome. I can't wait for this weekend to see all the people checking it out at the Donnie Smith Bike Show, because it's always fun when you're sitting in the bar and you can overhear people, just like at SEMA for years, you'll be sitting there and be like, did you see what Kelderman built this year? And you just sit there and incognito. Or, or when people are talking about stuff and they don't know who you are, you just kind of start talking. Hey, you like that? Yeah. What do we have here? Look at that.
Right? I'm definitely gonna ride it.
Yeah, it looks, motorcycles pictures just don't do them justice.
No.
Until you actually see them.
Well, and this one, wait till you hear it.
Yeah. Fuck, that's it. Those crash bars
Turned out cool, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he fit them perfectly, man.
He did, too.
Yeah, he's good. But it was tricky with the...
You're talking exactly the same.
Yeah, and it looks good from the top, yeah. It's tricky because the trash rear, all the rear sections, they go onto the outside left, but the inside right. So the two brackets are they're different. Where they attach right here.
Yeah. Oh, so one side.
You can't even tell, yeah, but you wouldn't know unless I told you, I don't think.
No kidding.
Yep. There she is. It's got her modular risers on it, so if you want, you can take them apart and flip them around so they're straight up and down for a little more stretch.
Wow. This thing is so
It's a
damn
monster, man. It's me and Mike were talking about it this morning, and I'm like, out of all the customers we have, Jeff is one of very few that
You would give him this much horsepower?
Yeah. There's a lot of them. I'd be like,
you gotta respect that shit,
Yeah, that's the whole thing. But you grew up on it, so.
Well, more of that. It's freaking race cars.
Yeah. No cage on this, though.
If you don't, your freaking eyes better be up, because you gotta look way out front. Way out front. All right, so let's show everybody what the nuts and bolts to this thing and the paint. All right, Paul, show us what we got here. Let's just start at the front and then go to the back, and you can tell everybody the lowdown on the dirt bike.
You got it. There's a lot to talk about here. So we did a set of our wheels. We call these the belligerent wheels, and of course the rotors match. Nobody was making a proper brake caliper bracket to mount radial brakes onto these front ends, so we did that. So that's the part that basically ties the sport bike brake to the conventional Harley front end. Then we did one of our fork braces, which there's a little bit of extra science put into those compared to some other folks. It's got our risers, Speed King bars. We did the full Nowaski treatment on the front and rear suspension. So we've got a cartridge kit that's tunable in the front, and then we've got the tunable reservoir shocks in the back. My man Mikey did not just the engine, but the fab work too. So he fabricated these crash bars. The stock crash bar won't work with the Trask Assassin Turbo. So he fabricated those. Everybody puts skateboard wheels on these, and since we're car guys, we did wheelie bar wheels. So sent those off to Scott, and Scott put Kelderman on half of them and bare knuckle performance on the other. So that's kind of a cool little detail. Then of course the Trask Turbo, we pulled the engine out. Excuse me. Sent the lower end down to A1 Mike, and he welded and trued the bottom end just because we're going to be spinning the kind of RPMs and spooling up like we're going to be doing. You want to make sure things are pretty stout. Then Ward went through the heads. He went through the the throttle body, everything's port matched, new springs, valves, all that stuff. We cut no corners on that engine. And then 77 cycles did the back cut and treating on the gears for the transmission. Got a Trask clutch in it. We got the aluminum rear section. Our buddy Screaming Speed and Fab did the side covers. So those are stainless steel. They got sent over to Scott and got painted. That was the only thing we really ran into because we did this aluminum rear section and it didn't work with the carbon fiber side cover. So Steve really pulled us out of a bind. He actually drove them up to us so that we could cut them up and make them work perfect on here. Then we got the same treatment in the back. We converted to chain drive. Then, of course, the beautiful job on the bags and everything that Scotty did. We've got a Saddleman seat, and we haven't shown you guys yet, but we also have a tour pack that matches perfectly with all this, and it's got the Saddleman seat for that as well. It's got our floorboards on it that we really like. These floorboards are adjustable front to back, and they also actually grip your feet. You don't just slide off, even though they look like they'd catch you. These really do. I think that might be about it. The rest is Scott, with all the detail and the clever little ideas. We had it all painted, and I was like, man, the stock inner fender just ain't cutting it because it was just black, just that black ABS kind of matte finish.
Yeah. Well, a couple little things I see too that you forgot to mention. You got your axles.
Yep, our axle, the clock fender, the clock flare, windshield.
ARP bolts.
ARP bolts, like
throughout.
Yeah.
And swing arm. I think that's the only.
Yeah, the aluminum swing arm, and then we did the radial brake in the back on that as well. On that end, I think that's about it. What else? There's the Trask clutch in there. It's everything. I'm looking at it. There's not really anything that hasn't been touched.
Yeah.
We powder coated everything to match.
Yeah, because we got that jam. Scott, tell us how you did those side covers, because those, when you got them, they're stainless, correct?
Yeah, and they look so cool. And, it was, the side covers were one of those parts of the bike that I wasn't sure how we were going to tie it all in. But we talked about doing a little branding on it, having Underground Art Studios on it, Bare Knuckle Performance, Kelderman. That all was for sure. But when they had the switch up and these showed up, I thought this is a really cool opportunity because it's not very often you have something that's that finish. So what we did was we just put a real light scuff on it, and then we masked off just where our branding was going to be so it would still be stainless, and then we shot that with 2580. We put down like a epoxy so that everything would still stick really well, and then really just kind of bombed it out. Like old school graffiti style, really just kind of sprayed it all up. And there's nothing really like that on the car, but it was a transition from kind of the Joe Dirt look here into the high performance motor. And I think that really works well, just a little transition.
Yeah, because the car has zero chrome on it, maybe a mirror in the rusted up door handles. Whereas, obviously with the motor, a little bit of polish, you got a little bit of, with the turbo, the shine, and then, obviously the awesome exhaust on it. So you got a little bit of shine on there. That ties right into the...
And, Paul and I, being able to share pictures, and he was doing a good job too of posting up on his Instagram. I was able to see a lot of his progress. I was able to see what he was doing, and that helped a lot. And not only that, but we thought that, gosh, the interfering, just leave it alone, like Paul was saying, it'll be all right in black. But when the parts started to go together, he right away said, this is looking a little out of place. And immediately we got all the pictures out and we went through the car and we realized there's some really cool features on the interior that we could do. And, Paul mentioned, try to make it look like the car, like the inside of the car, take some features out of there. And we did. I love the red.
Yeah, around the gauges.
Yep, around the gauges. So that was a key feature. Obviously the sticker, But we just kind of gave it that treatment. We just kind of dusted it down. I dusted it down with some silver. We gave it a little bit of patina look.
Right. So again, nobody really is going to notice that the dash is based off the dash. We know.
Right.
And that's what makes it fun. And, again, it's just, like looking at the cars and looking at the bike. Most people aren't going to pick up on all the little details that we know that is on the car that's on this, but
Right.
that's the most fun is putting something together that never been done. And in the motorcycle world, as you know, it's so hard to build something that just is every day talked about, because there's so many good people out there building cool stuff, and there's just as many people out there building trash that gets mixed in that people think's cool stuff.
But also, look, there's only really one manufacturer that we deal with. So we're in a certain little, very small box, and they don't change them. But minor changes, but like there's no big major overhaul. But every 7 or 8 years, it's not like you got all the different truck manufacturers, all the SUV manufacturers, all the car. It's like we've got like 3 platforms that we deal with, and they're all from the same manufacturer. So this definitely let us feel a little bit out of the box compared to how we normally would be with a non-chopper type build.
Absolutely. What was the toughest part of the paint on this one?
Well, honestly, the paint job, there was so much of it that we'd already done, that the challenges had ever been overcome, having done the car. So the side panels were probably the biggest challenge, just because I knew I wanted to try and get that stainless look to still come through.
Right.
And although it didn't take a long time to do it, that was the only thing that I had to give some thought to and really kind of slow down and think about how I can pull that off. But everything else, really, it was those struggles were already kind of figured out and hashed out. And like we talked earlier, I had a lot of the materials there ready to go. The techniques are already figured out. So
Well, the wild thing about it is, the side panels really don't have anything to do with the Joe Dirt car, but they fit perfect.
Right.
They fit the bike perfect.
And I think that was the struggle, was that I knew we already had kind of a home run going on here. How do I have these new pieces now?
Right.
And then adding the branding on them and really making it look like it fits in.
Because because honest truth, going the wrong route with that could really, I don't want to say, it would really throw the look of the bike way over here. Whereas like you said, it was perfect. Just had to complement something.
Well, on that underground, as you know, because we do paint work for you guys, for both of you guys, we like to take a photograph of the machine that we're going to paint, and we like to design it in Photoshop, and we like to play with the different colors and text off. What do you think of this? Or you send it to you or your client, and that really helped too, because you were able to see the balance of, we're thinking about this much yellow, we're thinking about this much blue. Obviously, we have both sides of the tank to kind of represent the doors, but that really helped to see it and for you to be able to look at it and say, this is the one I want. And, I think we gave you 4 options, and you knew which one that you thought represented the car the best. And so it gives you a map.
Doing the radiator cover down there to make like what the trunk looks like too. And we'll have the tour pack on there, but it looks like this. So it'll be on there. Awesome. Well, man, I tell you what, we hit a grand slam here, guys.
Yep.
And I couldn't be more proud.
It was a lot of fun,
own this bike. And again, just like we did the car, there's only a couple guys I want to deal with doing this, because when you're building stuff, man, you want to build with someone who share what you have, share that passion, and want to build something that they would want to own. And that's what we're doing. Same thing. These are like-minded individuals. I love building trucks, and we're good at it. Paul likes building motorcycles. He's good at it. And we all know Scott is an amazing painter, and he's really good at that. So that's what I try to do. Man, when I'm putting something together, I'm building a hot rod, whatever, I'm going to find, companies I want to deal with. And fortunately for me, I've become, a lot of my buddies are in the same stuff I do. So I just pick up the phone and, all right, guys, here's the next project. Let's make it happen. And we did.
Yep. On to the next.
On to the next. Yep. Which is sitting right behind those cameras. So we're going to peel out of here and jump on. We got another bike guy to take the show tomorrow. So we're out of here. Hit the like button, subscribe button, tell your friends, tell your enemies, anybody who wants to hang out with the Kelderman crew. You can find us at Kelderman Trucks on Instagram. I'm at jdeerte on Instagram. And on YouTube, we're Kelderman Manufacturing. Same thing on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
Fucker's so goddamn cool.